And so you mentioned it earlier. We'll move and start talking about your book. You've got a new book out. What was
Yes.
the inspiration? What was the whole writing process like? And of course, most importantly, what is it about?
Well, I have a copy here for you because I'm a little bit of a showman. So
Hey, look at
uh,
that.
there we go. It's called Thinking Outside the Soil, and it talks about how hydroponic fodder helps farmers save water, improve their livestock quality, and become better stewards of our earth. So, how did it just start? Well, I love to write. I love to read. I'm a voracious reader. I've been writing probably about since high school age at like
Mm.
interested in essays, longer form type writing, journaling. I've been journaling for a long time. Um, when I about 6 years ago, when I got back on my feet, I was actually sitting in a jail cell, and I had a counselor say, "Hey, why don't you try poetry?" So I took my hand into poetry, and it actually taught me some of the discipline to keep a prolific writing habit.
Hmm.
So back of all of that, I've had all of this stuff that I had created, and I was kind of sitting around one day just thinking about what I enjoy and the aspects of myself that I'm really good at, and trying to tie this is how is this relevant to the business? And I recognize that, well, if I'm a writer, this definitely means I need to lean into the grant writing aspect of what I'm doing here. So I started to think about those things, but another thing that popped up in my mind was recognizing that we're still growing as a business, and I'm a young individual, young entrepreneur, and a young scientist, and I was trying to look for a way to stand out. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
to stand out of the crowd from everybody else, and a lot of people say if you want to stand out, you want to be an expert, write a book. So
Yeah.
I said,
True.
well, I like to write, I love to read, let's write a book. So I opened up my file cabinet and actually have a file cabinet of handwritten stuff. So I pulled it out and started going, what can I create? What can I just take and just, dump it out, kind of irresponsibly when you look back at it. But I was like, I got to do something. What do I know? Well, I know hydroponics. So I told myself and started kind of wrestling these couple ideas. And so as I was thinking about this, lo and behold, the world somehow put this um, challenge in front of me. And I was actually on Instagram, came across this individual who was proposing this 30-day book challenge. And he said, essentially, I've got a process that can help you get your book done from nothing to done in 30 days. And I said, okay, I don't believe you, but let's go for it.
There you
Because
go.
that's a pretty daunting task, I imagine. Uh, so I jumped into the process, and day one of the process showed me that my whole plan to use the file cabinet notes was I threw that out the window. The assignment was to sit down and write out your struggles, what struggles you had, how did you overcome them, and what lessons did you learn that allowed you to, kind of get to where you are today. And so
Mm.
as I looked through that, I looked at my struggles as being an alcoholic. I looked at how my education and my passion for helping others in farming pulled me out of that stuff. And so I recognize that I've enjoyed helping people, and I've been helping people with agriculture. So I just kind of went through this guy's little drill, if you will, and did what it said. And it's not even a joke. An hour after I went through that process, I got a phone call from a farmer that said, "I just love what it is you're doing. And I want to just tell you that everything I'm doing and da, da, da," and he's just like fired off about 5 minutes of stuff, and I was like holding the phone back here because it was just so loud. Um, but yeah, and then I hung up the phone, and then literally like 10 minutes later, I got a phone call from another farmer, both talking about how they essentially were having challenges with water, and they were going to have to cull their herds.
Mm.
The way that I had the first guy was a rancher here. He's got um, I want to say about 100 head of pasture raised cattle, and he has 60 ewes. And he told me, he goes, but if you talk to me next week, it might be half that.
Mm.
And that, intrinsically in me, I understood exactly what he was saying. That hurt. That hurt a lot. I cannot um, put into words necessarily how much that just kind of stung in my stomach to hear someone just say that, because it hurt him to say it too. Uh, so I think that really was the first real piece that said, okay, I'm doing this. And so like day two, we had to, go out there and tell people, hey, I'm gonna try to do this. Do you think this is a good idea? And they just, I got more feedback from some other farmers. And so it was really ranchers, mostly ranchers, um, that said, cool. So I just continued on with the process, to be honest with you.